The final day of Stage 2's opening week concluded yesterday with 4 games that unfortunately were as one-sided as I and many others predicted. That said, there were some interesting notes to take away, with one of the series far more competitive than anyone expected. So let's break down what happened. Sunday began in earnest with the San Francisco Shock taking on the Guangzhou Charge, with the Shock looking just as strong as last stage from their opening game against the Valiant, whilst the Charge were very disappointing in their 4-0 loss to Paris. It looked like a similar storyline would repeat itself for the two sides, as San Francisco dominated the first round of Busan, with no response from Guangzhou. On Mecha Base, they managed to put up more of a fight, but even then the Shock proved too strong and clutched out the final teamfight to take the early map lead. Moving on to Anubis, Rascal once again shone as he looked to prove he is perhaps the best Baptiste player in the league at this early stage, as the Shock comfortably completed the map with just under 4 minutes left. But Hotba was able to make some nice plays on Farah, which he'd also done against Paris, as the Charge finished the map themselves. This success was short-lived, as San Francisco turned up a gear when they went at the map a second time round, as they strolled into the half, 2-0 up. The Charge, like their game against the Eternal, were at this stage able to put up a contest against their opponents, but too often this didn't effectively translate into objectives, and this competitiveness started to wane come the second half. On Iconward, the Shock had little trouble in completing the map, before Super and Sinatra combined to put an end to their opponent's overtime push at the end of the map, to guarantee the series at 3-0. The final map, Junkertown, really hammered the nail into the coffin for Guangzhou, who had no reply to the pirate ship of San Francisco that blitzed through the map thanks to some nice Bastion Baptiste combos from Rascal and Sinatra. This, before a 3-minute spawn camp marked an ugly end to the match that saw the Shock hold the Charge to just before the first checkpoint and complete the sweep 4-0. Anyone for the Shock could have taken the player of the match after this dominating display, but highlighted why they are one of the best teams in the league right now, but it went to Super, who brutalised the duel against Rio with some nice shatters throughout the series. For the Charge, after yet another 4-0 defeat, it seems to be going from bad to worse. They need to pick up their performance quickly before this stage spirals out of control. The Atlanta Reign faced the London Spitfire in the second match of the day, and was a game that I and others had pegged to be quite close and a competitive series. The first half of the series was anything but close, however, as London came out on fire against the Reign on Oasis, with 2 dominating rounds, in which Fury was the pick of his side. This level of performance continued into Anubis, where despite a decent defensive effort from Atlanta, the Spitfire still managed to complete the map, and their own attack was messy and disjointed, as they just managed to capture point A before being held on B, but led to them being down 2-0 at the half. At this point it was clear that whilst London was playing well all round, Atlanta seemed to be really underperforming as their team severely lacked coordination, and it seemed that some engagements weren't communicated throughout the side. That said, after the break the series became a lot more contested, but London's higher level of quality still gave them the edge. Every member of the side made plays when it mattered, and with the Reign finishing Blizzard World with no time left, they just about managed to capture the first point of their second attack in overtime to lock the series after their third map win. Gibraltar played quite similarly to the previous map, with both sides managing to reach the end of the map the first time round, with both Divas the standouts with huge Diva bombs, and Fury pulled off one of the nastiest grab for eat flicks that I've ever seen. Again though, Atlanta's late determination wasn't enough, as the Spitfire just came out on top in the overtime fight to win the map and therefore sweep the series 4-0. Fury deservedly took the Player of the Match award after an excellent performance, as he looks to prove he's still one of the best divas in the league. Atlanta on the other hand just look out of sorts. In the absence of players like Dako and Dogman, these are some questions that his team needs to answer quickly if they are to recover this stage. Game 3 saw the Vancouver Titans go against the Hangzhou Spark, and it looked like yet another 4-0 sweep was on the way. The Spark, however, put some doubts into our heads, as they made Oasis very competitive, with the Titans requiring a nanovisor from Stitch to secure the first round in the last teamfight. Again, they made it close in the second round, but Bumper, Janu and Stitch came out clutch to narrowly edge out this round as well, as Vancouver took map 1, but not as convincingly as they would have liked. Yet from here, normality appeared to return, as the Titans rolled through their attack on Hanamura in less than 4 minutes, with the players Adora and Assassin, who had been brought in by Hangzhou for the series, making little difference. They themselves crawled over the line, but this left Vancouver over 4 minutes to take A, and they obliged in convincing and dominating fashion to take a 2-0 lead into the break. After the half, it looked as though the Spark were really going to cause the Titans some trouble, as they finished King's Row in a very good time with almost 4 minutes left. But like the Stage 1 finals in Rialto, Vancouver replied with an incredible attack that left them with a time bank of over 5 minutes, the fastest this season, winning every teamfight on the way. This appeared to be the knockout blow, as even with 4 minutes, Hangzhou were full held on point A, even losing teamfights where they had 6 ultimates for Titans 3. And with Vancouver recognising this was over, they brought out Bumper's trump card, Farah, to seal the deal. This caused so much havoc that both teams just watched his masterclass for 4 minutes, which included one of the greatest barrages to grace the Overwatch League stage, before, out of respect, he finally switched on to Ryan, and his side captured the point to lock up the series. With the last map, Gibraltar, whilst they did stop them from finishing the map, Spark just came up short in the end, with Vancouver turning up a gear in the last fight to win the map and give us our 3rd consecutive 4-0 sweep of the day. Whilst Hangzhou looked as inconsistent as ever, Vancouver continued with their incredible unbeaten run, and it was Twilight who had enabled much of his tank's antics, who received the Player of the Match award, a particular note of his Ana play that was incredibly strong, with some nice sleep darts on Hanamura as well. The conclusion to the opening week of Stage 2 saw the Washington Justice take on the Chengdu Hunters, and it looked like Overwatch was going to be the overall takeaway from the day. Oasis followed this script, as Armin and Jinmu completely stomped the Justice, with no response to either, and very quickly the Hunters had taken map 1. On Anubis, however, Chengdu just seemed to switch off, as they could never seem to fully get rid of Corey on Bastion and Ark on Mercy, who brought back teamfights that looked lost on a number of occasions, as they astonishingly held point A. They continued to go against the script, as their triple DPS trapped the Hunters inside, and picked them off one by one to end the sweeps and give us a tie after 2 maps. To the surprise of everyone, almost exactly the same thing happened on King's Row, as behind Corey's Bastion, Chengdu were once again held at point A, and Washington really should have won the map, but due to some very sloppy and confusing play, they allowed the Hunters to hold the point despite being without a mercy, and in the end somehow Chengdu led 2-1. This now very competitive series moved into Gibraltar, and both sides traded blows again as they completed the map on their first attacks. But at this moment, Armin was angry, and he forced his side through to a decent overtime push, before bulldozing the Justice on his defense, to ensure his side wrapped up the series 3-1, for it had been far less convincing than they would have liked. On that point, Washington demonstrated that as a side they were clearly improving, with a much better overall coordination, but Armin, who took the Player of the Match award, was having none of it by the series conclusion, as the Yotachad marches on towards the Stage 2 playoffs. Sunday was another great day for my predictions, getting all 4 winners correct, making this my best week so far, with a 14-2 record from the first 16 games of Stage 2. I also perfectly saw the 4-0 victories for the Shock and Titans, but I did not anticipate London to dominate Atlanta as much as they did, nor Washington to put up as much of a fight as they did against Chengdu, so fair play to both sides. But with no games to preview tomorrow, we've reached the end of my Day 4 review, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back again tomorrow with my updated power rankings after the first week of Stage 2, so be sure to check that out, and please like and subscribe in order to see that, as well as the rest of my Overwatch League content I've planned for the rest of the week as well.